Hey guys, Super Ducky Power here, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make the Merle Ambrose plushie. This is the same one that I posted on my Instagram and was reposted by Wizard101. So first of all, I just want to say that this is not a toy. It's mostly meant to be decorative. It's not suitable for use by children or pets, and I want you to use caution when you handle scissors, hot glue, and sewing supplies. So here it is. This is the same one that was posted by Wizard101 for the art spotlight in October, and he's semi-detailed. So the first thing you're going to need is going to be felt squares. You're going to want purple, tan, white, black, a light greenish blue, a light blue, and of course red and yellow for the details later. You should be able to get this at just about any craft store. When I bought it, it cost me between 30 cents and $2, mostly hovering around the $1 mark, but sometimes you can even get felt like half off at some places. It's pretty crazy. It's really an inexpensive material. Okay, and then you're also going to need a hot glue gun, hot glue sticks to go with that, some really good scissors for cutting that felt, some good thread. You can pick any color you want, really. You're going to need a sewing needle. I tried to sew the hole in the sewing needle, but it didn't really show up very well in the video. And then the last two things you're going to want is going to be one of those wooden pokey stick things that's going to be used to push the stuffing into the plushie. And then of course you're going to need stuffing for the plushie, and this can be just about any stuffing you want. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to be cutting the body, the head, and the hat. To do this, I'm going to be uploading a template that you can use. I've personally just freehand cut these. But if you're unable to do that, I will have a template up for most of the pieces for this project, and you'll be able to just cut that from there, cut out the outlines in the template, put it on top of your felt piece, and then cut it out following that guide. And then honestly, for the second one of each part, I would just basically throw it back onto the felt with the first one and cut it based on the one that you've already cut before, rather than using the template for both, to make it more true to your cutting. And then for the monocle and the eye, you're only going to need one of each piece, and I will also include these on the template. They will be there. But this is just going to be a quick little, you're mostly just cutting circles for this part, so it's nothing too crazy. And this is just me showing you how it's going to layer. Okay, next we're going to actually start the sewing portion. So we're going to start with sewing the body together. You're going to leave what would essentially be the neck area open to put stuffing in later. So we're going to start on the right side. You can start from either side you want. It doesn't really matter, but I started with the right side. And so you start actually on the bottom left of the body. You go across, you go up into the armpit, and then you go around the arm and stop at the shoulder. And you'll be able to see that in a time lapse in just 1 second. Okay, and now that you did that side, you're going to take your needle and thread, and you're going to start from the other side, from where the right side began on the bottom left. You're going to start from that same part, but you're going to go up into the left armpit, around the left arm, and stop at the left shoulder. And this will still leave that neck area empty. If you want to leave enough thread left over to close the neck area, that would be good, but you could start a whole new line of thread otherwise if you want to. Either way works. That's just whatever you find easier, whatever your skill level allows you to do is your thing. Okay, and now that both sides are sewn, you're going to take your stuffing and you kind of want to fluff it a little bit, make it nice and, I don't know, easy to use and break apart. And then you're going to start stuffing it, and I'm gonna be honest, this is going to be the longest portion of the video most likely because it is hard to get stuffing into those arms if you make them as skinny as I did. If you want it to be a little bit easier, you can make them a little bit wider. Obviously, it's personal preference how thick of arms you want Merle Ambrose to have, I guess. But you can see me struggle with it a little bit. Personally, I kind of like the shape that I give his body or whatever, but I don't know, it just kind of feels very doll-like the way that it's done. The way that I did it feels very doll-like, or I guess plushie-like. But obviously it's not as easy as it could be with larger arms. Yeah, this is where you really need that wooden stick, because you need something to push it into those smaller areas. And that's also going to be important when you actually need to stuff the hat. So it's really important that you have some kind of object like this to be able to do that. And yeah, you can see me struggling with that arm really bad right there. Also, you want to be careful not to disrupt your stitches or poke through them. I've done it a couple times. You can try to pull the thread through and make it tighten back up, but it's not as perfect as it will have started. So it's really just, it's better not to mess with your stitches at all, really. It's better to have them intact as they are when you finish your sewing. And you really, you want to stuff both arms, stuff the torso, and you want to make sure that it's as stuffed as you want it to be. You can leave a little bit of area. Okay, let me rephrase that. You're going to want to stuff it almost completely, but leave just a little bit less stuffing than you would like it to be filled with, because that's going to make it easier to sew the top closed. And I'm struggling with this arm too. That arm was actually even smaller. It was even harder to do than the first one. So we just get to wait for that. Okay, I guess I got it at this point, because then I stuffed more into the torso. Okay, so we're literally just waiting for me to finish stuffing this. It's gonna take a second longer. This is for sure the longest portion of the video. It's probably one of the hardest parts too, so it's not entirely crazy that it's the longest part, but you can see, okay, here's where you can see that I didn't stuff it all the way full, and so then that makes it a little bit easier to sew, and you just start from either shoulder and take your needle and thread and just start going for it, start closing it up, and then you want to every once in a while push the stuffing a little bit further in where you've already finished sewing the top, and you can keep adding more stuffing. And that will loosen up the stitches which you've just done, but that's a little bit okay because it's really easy to tighten the ones that you're working on as you go. It's harder to tighten ones that you've already tied off, but the ones that you're still working on are really easy to just pull and have it retighten. Okay, more stuffing. Stuffing is actually really fun. Some of it's really weird, like some of the stuffing is like, I don't know, it's like if you took a curling iron to some stuffing, there's like some weird little parts of stuffing. I don't know how to describe it. If you buy a huge bag of stuffing like I did, you might find some weird little, wavy pieces of stuffing. I don't know what they're about, but they're there. And also, yes, I do poke my fingers when I sew, so probably should have gotten a thimble, but I didn't, so well, that's too bad. I also probably should have done the instructions while I was doing this. Although I did use time-lapse, so that would have been weird. But, oh well. Also, I don't know what I just pressed. Anyways, if I sound kind of like, I don't know, sad, it's because I watched Grey's Anatomy just now, and I think my phone's ringing over there. It's probably fine. I watched the new Grey's Anatomy and Station 19, and I was like sobbing earlier, so you know, that was. Anyways, so you're just gonna want to keep sewing the top closed, and my light just turned off above me, so that's cool. I love when that happens. Automatic lights are actually kind of annoying. Anyways, I keep getting off track. So you can see that kind of like the shoulder opened up on the one side, as I had been stuffing the arm earlier, and that's okay, because we're, like, as you sew the top closed, you can kind of go back and do some sewing beyond where you've already, you can go back over where those bits of sewn pieces are, and you can just re-sew it. It won't look crazy if you have two, if you overlap sewing areas, you know? Which you can see, I think I kind of do that before I decide to tie it off. And I mostly close that shoulder up again. And then I believe that ends the time-lapse in 1 second, or not time-lapse, video in 1 second. Okay, so then you're going to be doing basically the same thing with the head. You're going to sew from one side all the way around, but you're going to stop and not sew the top part closed yet, because you're going to sew from the top. You can kind of go like halfway across the top if you want. ACO biz. Actually, you can use the same string of thread if you want to. You don't have to cut it off and tie it off for this part. It's not going to be very hard to fill with stuffing, so you can kind of hold on to your needle and just kind of like pause, stuff it, pick your needle back up, close it, tie it off. Which you can see I did really fast. Okay, so for the hat, you can actually hot glue or sew this. I've hot glued it both times I've made it. I think it's easier, and I don't know, sewing is just not a very fast process. But if you love sewing, go for it. It would be a little bit sturdier, I think, if it was sewn than with hot glue, but I think it's plenty sturdy with hot glue as well. So you're gonna wanna hot glue around the bottom, basically hot glue it to the head, not to each other. And then you're gonna want hot glue from one side up to the tip of the hat. Stop, stuff it, hot glue more, stuff it some more, hot glue it closed. And that should be the end of the hat. Make sure you're really careful with the hot glue though, it will burn you if it gets too hot. Okay, so the next part is going to be all the details. For the basically wraparound parts, I just took a long line of each piece of felt square and I just wrapped it around, cut off the excess, glued it on. And then we have the pieces that you already made that are the eye and the monocle that you're just gonna glue right on there together. And then for the eyebrows, the beard, the mustache, and the nose, I will put them on the template. You can just cut those out, glue them on. You're gonna just wanna glue all those pieces to the face, but you're gonna wanna do it in the order I did, which was beard, mustache, mustache, nose. Then you're gonna do the belt, which is same process as the hat that you saw. You take a line from the felt square, you're gonna wrap it around, you're gonna cut off the excess, you're gonna glue it on. And same for the hands. The hands are smaller though, so you're not gonna need a whole line from your belt square most likely. You're gonna be able to take like half of that. And the bottom, you're gonna have to really like glue it closed on the very, very bottom part of the robe. That's really just gonna be helpful for making it sturdy. And then the stars and moons, you're just gonna glue right on. And then that's it. You should have a fully completed Merle Ambrose plush right then. I know I kind of sped through the details, but honestly, if you do them in the right order and you have them already pre-made, it should be really fast at that point. Alrighty, and in the description, you should be able to find a supply list, the template to cut out the pieces, and I will also be including step-by-step instructions down there in a link. So if you'd like step-by-step instructions printed out, I will have those. Thank you for watching. I hope you liked the video, and I do plan to make more felt plushies based on Wizard101 in the future, so keep an eye out. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.